Hello, Kipsters. Happy Tuesday. I hope you guys all enjoyed your long weekend. I know I did. Today, we are going to be continuing our note lessons. So, essentially, we are continuing the lessons on how to identify the notes in the treble clef staff. Okay, so for instance, we have this card here. Can you remember the lines on the treble clef? All right, you guys, we worked on this last week. We use the every good boy does fine, or what was it? Every good bear deserves fish, or something like that. This one says every good boy deserves fruit. So many ways to remember these notes. All right, and we will continue to create ways or think of our own ways to remember these notes as quickly as possible, so that when we get our recorders, which will be coming to you so soon. I just got word, as I said, maybe in the last video, that our recorders are in at the school, and you guys will be getting those very soon. So that when we get those recorders, we will be able to read our music without any trouble and effectively learn much quicker than we normally would. These Nearpod YouTube videos lessons are about to become a little different. I know in the previous videos they were all about 25 to 30 minutes. I'm not sure how long these will last, but these videos are more. These lessons are more going to be focused on the Nearpod itself rather than just watching me and listening to the video. So essentially, you're going to be in the Nearpod and maybe taking 30 minutes total with that work included. But for now, we're just going to go with it and see where we end up at the end of this video, and then I will gauge the rest of the week on that. Okay. So Tuesday, we are going to be reviewing the treble clef worksheets and review. So I know I talked about bass clef a little bit last week. I really want to push off on talking about that for a while, just so that we can get some serious clarity on the treble clef, because when the moment comes, that's what we will be playing our recorders on. So I really want to focus on the treble clef and making sure we identify that before I introduce you guys to an entirely new clef and an entirely new set of notes. Okay, so again, focusing mainly here on the treble clef and getting that down so that we can be prepared for our future performances. Moving on, next in the Nearpod, if you're following along, but again, you don't have to follow along in this Nearpod. I am essentially going to let you guys free to do the Nearpod on your own. And then this video is just kind of giving you a little bit of directions on the lessons that we'll be doing. Okay, in these lessons, you will be learning and reviewing what you already know or should already know about the treble clef if you've been following along. If you've been following along in the Nearpods that I've been posting last week, or that I posted last week, you should be able to get most of this down. And I've kind of put in many different ways to help you refresh and remember that content. Okay, so review, just a little review. Our I can statement that we're going to continue working on for essentially the month of October. Towards the end, we're going to start learning about the recorder and about woodwind instruments a little more. But for now, the I can statement we're going to be focused on is I can identify the notes on the treble or of the treble clef staff. Okay, so again, we have our treble clef. You guys see it on the screen, and I'll show you in my video. Treble clef. All right, and the staff. Notes on this staff. So this is the staff, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the notes are on the bottom. So you should be able to identify without any help what this note is. All right, so then when I turn it over and reveal, you get the answer correct. Okay. Moving on to the next slide. Remembering from last week, we learned about our alphabet, our musical alphabet. All right, we don't go past H. I saw some of you in the Nearpod last week put H in some of your answers when that was directly what we were working on not doing. So I need to make sure you're watching these YouTube videos, because in those videos, I kind of give you exactly the answer you need to understand. I know it's still confusing sometimes, so I'm not going to hold that against you. But remember, in the musical alphabet, there are only 7 letters. 7 letters. It goes all the way up to G, and then what happens? Give you a moment of silence to think about it. It goes back to A. All right. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We start over and go back to A, and just keep repeating it until we can't repeat it anymore. All right. On the lines of the treble clef staff, we have E, G, B, D, and F. All right, on the lines. We need to make sure we're differentiating here between lines and spaces. It's so important. E, G, B, D, and F on the lines. All right, we had an acronym for this one, and the acronym, if you're moving on in the slide, every good bear deserves fish. All right, so if you want to use that one from here on out, go ahead and continue to use that one, but you can make your own. Remember last week last week I had every good burrito deserves fajitas. Okay, so again, you can come up with any one you want that helps you remember. It doesn't have to be this one. It can be, but if this one's not clicking with you, go ahead and find your own. Make it up. Make it fun. Make it exciting. All right, moving on. Today we're going to. So this is what I was talking about. I really don't want to be doing all the work for you guys. So I'm giving you a little less video and a little more Nearpod in these. All right. So in these, we are writing the name of each treble clef line note in the box and name the lines from bottom to top. All right. So I'll kind of talk about how to do this. So the last thing, we'll name the lines from bottom to top. That's just kind of telling us to write these down. E, G, every good. What's the next one? Boy. And then the next one, deserves, or every good bear deserves. And then the last one, fish, all right, or food or fruit. Every good bear or boy deserves fruit or fish. Okay, so when it says name the lines from bottom to top, that's what you need to do up there. All right, it's simple. I don't want that to be confusing. When I first read it, I was confused a bit, so I kind of just did it for you there. But the rest of this, what I want you to do is find the note and write the answer in the box. Okay, so each one of these has a letter answer, and you're going to write that answer in the box. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to do a couple for you, just so that you guys can get a hint, and then we're going to move on. All right. So we're going to do this one right here, just the first one. All right. How we do this? Let's just pretend that we're going to make numbers on each of these lines. 1, 2. Remember, you don't have to do this. We did this last week. You do not have to do this. 3, 4. And 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our lines. We're looking for our second line. So we're looking for the note on the second line. So we're just going to go to the second letter. I'll even put numbers up here for you guys so you can see this a little easier. All right, remember, in the Nearpod, you can be doing this while I'm talking. If you already know how, you can pause me while you're working and then move on with me. I think that might be a good practice for this. Pause me while you finish the work and then move on. That might be a good practice. We'll see. Second line here. All right, so we're looking for the second letter or the second word of our name the lines from bottom to top. So every good. So this is going to be G. All right, it's on the second line. Every good boy does fine. And remember how I said on Thursday, we always go from bottom to top. We don't go top to bottom. We don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from top to bottom. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from bottom to top. Okay. All right. So I'm going to do one more for you guys, and then you can pause the video, and then we'll move on to the slide when you're done submitted it. I'm going to do this one down here. I know it's hard to write when the screen is down here like this, but we'll try to work with it. So we have our bottom line here, and we have this note, which is on the 1, 2, 3, 4th line. All right, so this is the 4th line from the bottom. It's not the second line from the top. This is the 4th line from the bottom. Okay, so we look up here. Our 4th letter or our first word is deserve or D. All right, so we put a D here, and I know, like I said, it's hard to draw when the screen is at the bottom. Whoops. Hard to draw when the screen's at the bottom, but just go ahead and just do as best you can, or maybe right next to it or something like this. If I were to write, sorry, let me redo it. If it's too low for you guys, which it seems to be, just go ahead and put it right here. All right. And then I'll be able to know what you did. All right. But yes, that note is D. All right. So you go from the bottom to top, you find the 4th line. You know that the 4th word or the 4th letter in that in the way we remember lines is going to be D. Okay. So again, I'm going to have you pause my video here on YouTube if you're following along, and then you guys can finish this worksheet. It'll take probably a few few minutes there. This is why I don't want the videos to take the entire time, so that you guys can have a little more independence with this music work and I can see where you're at. If you're unpaused, you can go ahead and click next. All right. So for the spaces, all right, we have face equals what? We have the words, we have those letters there, FACE, and we know that that word, or it looks like that word is face. All right. And those notes are in the what? They are in the spaces. All right. Can you remember notes in the spaces of the treble clef? Can you remember notes in the spaces of the treble clef? And of course, FACE. Okay. Spaces equals face. All right. Or it can also mean fish always carry elephants, or Fridays are certainly excellent. You know, whatever you want. Just make up words on the spot. It's whatever helps you remember that FACE belongs in the spaces on the treble clef staff. We're going to do the same thing with our we just did, but this time we're going to work with spaces here. All right. So again, fill in the missing letters for the note shown. Write the name of each treble clef space in the box. What do the spaces spell from bottom to top? So we're going to go ahead and do that. We know what the spaces spell from bottom to top. I just said it. The spaces equals what? Face. All right. So up here, you just put FACE. All right. And we get our word. FACE. Let me get our word face. All right. So I'm going to put the numbers up here again. I'm going to actually change the color to make it a little different than last time so you can see it better. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. And then our spaces, we can do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so when we count our spaces from bottom to top, remember, we know what notes, we can go up here and count what number the note lands on. All right, so I'm going to do the first one with you and then another random one. Looking at this one, we're looking from the bottom to top. We're going to count our spaces. 1, 2, 3. Third space, there is a note in it. We look up here and we see the third number goes on top of C. So we put the note C right here. All right, FACE. All right, third space, third note of the acronym we have been learning, FACE. Do another random one with you. All right, we have a note right here. I'm going to do one right in the middle. We have a note here on the second space. So we're going to count from the bottom. 1, 2. That's how we found out it's in the second space. And then we look up here and we see that our second letter is A. So we know that FA, second letter of the word face, second letter of the acronym, is the correct answer here. All right. So again, pause your video, take your time, do this on your own, and then when you're ready, click submit and continue to press forward in the YouTube video. I know there's a little back and forth there, but don't worry. Just be patient, take your time. You don't need to be feeling like you got to get this done quick. All right. Once you are done, go ahead and submit that and then click next. And this is your exit ticket. All right. So once you guys get done with this exit ticket, I'm going to give you a little help on this, and then your lesson should be complete. This is the same exact thing as we just did. All right. Essentially, this is the exact same work, except now you have a mix of spaces and lines. All right. So now you have to actually look at what note is sitting where. You can easily tell the difference here between lines and spaces. The notes that have lines literally have a line going through it. The notes that have spaces are sitting in between two lines, and there's no line going through it. So it's easy to see visually what note it is. I'm going to do 3 of these with you, and then you guys can complete your exit ticket, and you should be done for the day. Okay. So I'm going to start with this first one. All right, we're looking at lines here. We need to remember now, we need to remember as soon as we think of lines that our brain goes to the mnemonic or the acronym, every good boy does fine. Every good boy does fine. All right. From now on, I'm going to keep with that acronym. I know we've been using a bunch of different ones, but I'm just going to keep one just for the clarity. All right. You guys you can use whichever one you want, but I'm going to use the one that I know just so I don't have to waste that time. All right. So we're looking for the third line. We count from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. It's on the third line. So we know we're working with lines now. We need to make sure we're getting the right acronym. Every good boy, boy B. Okay, we know that it is B. Third line, third word of that acronym, B. All right, let's do another one. Let's do a space. I'm going to go ahead and do the easiest space we got. We got the first space filled in here. What's the first letter of the spaces? Space equals what word? And what's the first letter of that word? Space equals face. And that first letter of that word is F. All right. So it's on the first space. We look for the first letter of that word that we know, face, or the first letter of that acronym that we know. All right. And sorry, I forgot what I was saying there. Just gonna move on. Forgot what I was saying. But moving on to one more. I'll give you guys one more. We're gonna do this one right under it on the spaces again. All right. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth space has something in it. It has a note in it. So on this fourth space here, we're going to think about what acronym we use for space. Space equals what? Face. And the last letter of the word face, you got to know how to spell face for this. The last letter of the word face is FACE. Fourth letter is E. So we're going to put an E here because that note is in the fourth space. All right. Hopefully this is making sense to you guys. As I said, I'm going to be looking back in the Nearpod to check your understanding. But for now, make sure you're finishing this, you're submitting, and you can pause me now. And then I'll finish out once you submit. Essentially, you're going to just go to the stop. And it's going to say stop. After that, you guys are done. All right. So take your time on that. Don't feel like you have to be finished as soon as you get done because I didn't go through all of them with you. I wanted to make sure you guys had that answer down or had this understanding down. And then you're done for the day. All right. Always remember 3 things Mr. Isaac has for you. You are kind, you are smart, and you are important. I will see you guys so soon, and I'm looking forward to the day we can all play together again. Have an awesome day.